5 terrifying sleep paralysis horror stories. Sleep paralysis is more than just waking up unable to move. For those who experience it, it's a descent into a waking nightmare, when your body is trapped between sleep and consciousness, and something in the dark realizes you can't escape. Here are 5 chilling accounts that will make you think twice before closing your eyes tonight. Story 1. The Man at the End of the Bed. I was 17 when I had my first episode. I woke up in the early hours, flat on my back, staring at the ceiling. The air felt heavy, as if someone had pressed a weight onto my chest. I tried to move, nothing. My fingers wouldn't twitch, my legs wouldn't shift. I couldn't even turn my head. That's when I saw him. At the foot of my bed stood a man in a long black coat, his face lost in shadow. He didn't move, didn't speak, just stood there, his head tilted slightly to the side. I wanted to scream, but my throat was locked. I could hear my heartbeat pounding in my ears, and the only other sound was his breathing. Slow, deep, too close. Then he began to walk towards me. With each step, the air grew colder, until my breath was visible. I could see the glint of something metallic in his hand. A blade. Just as he reached the side of my bed, my body snapped awake. I sat up, gasping, and the room was empty. But for weeks afterwards, I couldn't sleep without the light on. I still can't fully convince myself it was just a dream. Story 2. The Weight on My Chest. I was living in a shared flat during university. My room was small, bed against one wall, wardrobe against the other. One night, I woke to find myself staring at the ceiling, completely paralyzed. At first, I thought it was just a weird dream. Then the pressure started. It felt like something had climbed onto my chest, heavy, almost crushing my ribs. I could hear a faint, raspy breathing, but couldn't see anyone. My eyes darted frantically around the room, but I couldn't even turn my head. Then I felt it. Cold, skeletal fingers sliding around my neck. They began to squeeze. I fought to breathe, every muscle screaming to move, but I was locked in place. My vision darkened at the edges, and I was certain I was going to die right there. And then, release. The pressure vanished, and I bolted upright, coughing. My room was silent, my door still locked. But the marks, faint red imprints, were still around my throat. Story 3. The Thing in the Corner. I've had sleep paralysis for years, but nothing prepared me for the night something watched me. It started the same as usual, waking in the middle of the night, unable to move. I could see my wardrobe across the room, the moonlight catching its wooden frame. But in the corner, just to the left of it, the shadows were too dark. Something was crouching there. It had a shape, limbs, too long for its body, folded awkwardly, as if it were ready to spring. Too faint, glowing eyes stared at me without blinking. It didn't move at first. It just stayed there, waiting. Then it began to crawl across the floor, slowly, deliberately, never breaking eye contact. By the time it reached the side of my bed, my heart was racing so fast I thought it would burst. It leaned in, its face inches from mine. It didn't look human. Its mouth was stretched far too wide, filled with teeth that seemed to shine in the dark. And then, as always, I woke fully, alone, drenched in sweat. I didn't sleep for 2 nights after. Story 4. The Whisper. It happened while I was visiting my grandparents' house in Devon. Their cottage is old, with uneven floors and low ceilings, the kind of place that already feels haunted before anything happens. I was sleeping in the guest room, tucked under the eaves. In the middle of the night, I woke to that familiar, terrifying sensation, frozen in place, eyes wide open, unable to move or call out. At first, the room seemed normal, but then I heard it. A whisper, right next to my ear. It wasn't words, at least not in English. It was a low, rapid muttering, almost like chanting. The voice was deep, far deeper than it should have been, and I could feel the vibration of it against my skull. The whispering grew louder, faster, until it was almost a growl. My vision blurred, and in the corner of my eye, I saw the shadow of a face, long, narrow, and impossibly close to mine. Suddenly, the voice stopped, and I could move again. I sat up, shaking, and turned on the lamp. The room was empty, but the air still felt warm where the whisper had been. Story 5, The Doorway. The worst part about this one is that it happened in broad daylight. I'd been napping after a long night shift. The curtains were half open, letting in the afternoon sun. I woke up and immediately realized I couldn't move. My eyes went to the bedroom doorway, and there was a figure standing there. It was tall, thin, and entirely black, like its shape had been cut out of the world. No features, no face, just a human outline filled with darkness. It didn't move, didn't breathe, just stood there in the doorway, blocking my way out. Then it started to lean. Slowly, unnaturally, its head tilted sideways until it was almost horizontal, as if it were trying to see me from a strange angle. My chest tightened. I couldn't scream. All I could do was stare as it took one long step into the room. And then I woke, really woke, still in bed, but with the horrible certainty that if I'd stayed in paralysis 1 second longer, it would have reached me. Final thoughts. Sleep paralysis is often explained as the brain waking before the body, mixed with vivid hallucinations. But if that's true, why do so many people see the same things? The shadow figures, the weight on the chest, the whispers in the dark. Maybe they're not hallucinations at all. Maybe paralysis strips away the barrier between our world and something else. And maybe they're just waiting for the moment you can't move.